Hi, hello dear students, welcome to my class. This is a new chapter that is called as intermolecular forces. That is particularly for liquids and solids I am going to discuss in this session. So it takes around 5 to 6 classes for our complete study. Okay, let us move on to the discussion. Most of you know, under atmospheric conditions, the solid carbon dioxide, what we call dry ice, does not melt. Solid carbon dioxide is nothing but dry ice. It does not melt under the atmospheric conditions. It only sublimes in those conditions. Directly it converts into CO2 in gaseous state. In sublimation takes place. The models show a unit cell of carbon dioxide and a gaseous carbon dioxide molecules. So here we are talking about carbon dioxide, right? So what is the unit cell discussion? How the gaseous carbon dioxide molecules separately existed and what is the difference between this solid and the gas, we will see in this session. And not only that one, we are going to talk more about liquids and solids. We begin applying that kinetic molecular theory of gases to liquids and solids and comparing their properties with those of gases. Okay. So here, and also we examine different types of intermolecular forces between molecules and also between ions and molecules. In this discussion, we will study a special type of intermolecular interaction called as hydrogen bonding, that involves hydrogen and electronegative elements nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine in the intermolecular force concepts. So many different things, and we see the two important properties of liquids in this session, in this chapter: surface tension and viscosity. Surface tension and viscosity, that can be understood in terms of intermolecular forces. After that, we then move to the world of solids and learn about nature of crystals and ways of packing spheres to form different unit cells. After that, the best way of determining the dimensions of a crystal structure by X-ray diffraction studies based on the scattering of X-rays by atoms or molecules in a crystal. Not only that, one the major types of crystals are ionic, covalent, molecular and metallic. Also we will study, and these intermolecular forces will definitely help us to understand the structure of ionic solids and also physical properties such as the density, melting point, electrical conductivity, etc. We learn solids can also exist in amorphous form, which lacks of orderly three-dimensional arrangements, how they lose their arrangement, and all we will study. And a well-known example of an amorphous solid is a glass. About that also we will study. And after that, we will study about the phase transitions among gases, liquids and solids in this chapter. Okay, this is the briefing about this chapter. Now we are going to talk about the salient features of this intermolecular forces. That means intermolecular forces introduction I will give. Introduction. In this, every day we use water and other liquids for drinking. Is a general example. If you see, for drinking we will use liquids, bathing, cleaning, cooking, and also we handle solids also. We wear solids. So, molecular motion, if you observe in liquids and solids, this molecular motion is said to be restricted. Molecular motion in liquids and solids is restricted when compared to gases. In solids, the atoms and molecules are closely packed, even more tightly together when compared to liquids. In fact, in solids they are held a well defined positions and are capable of little free motion relative to one another. In this chapter, we will examine the structure of liquids and solids and discuss some of the fundamental properties of these two states of matter. Okay. So, we will also study the nature of transitions among gases, liquids and solids in this one. Let us start with the first important concept in this discussion, that is kinetic molecular theory of liquids and solids. What is that? Kinetic molecular theory of liquids and solids. Okay. In the previous sessions in states of matter, heard about kinetic molecular theory is explaining the behavior of gases in terms of gas constants, telling about the random motion of gas molecules. And we heard that in gases, the distance between the molecules are so great, and that in ordinary temperature and pressures about 25 degrees Celsius and 1 atmosphere pressure, there is no appreciable interaction between those molecules of gases. That is okay, but there is a great deal of empty space in a gas, that is nothing but space that is not occupied by molecules. What is empty space? Space that is not occupied by the molecules. That's why gases can readily compress, because the space is there. If you reduce the space, that we will call it as compression of gases. After that, they will lose their motion. That means the motion will be called as restricted motion when we compress the gas molecule. That means the lack of strong forces between the molecules in gases allows the gas molecules to expand to fill the volume of the container. Further, we will talk about large amount of empty space explains why gases have very low densities and in the normal conditions. That and all is a history, that is in previous sessions in the solid state about the kinetic molecular theory of gases we learnt. Now, straight away we come to the point of liquids and solids. What about liquids and solids in this discussion is, liquids and solids are quite different in story when compared to gases. So, the principal difference between the condensed states. What are the condensed states? Means liquids and solids. When we convert the gas into liquids and solids, those states we will call condensed states. And the gaseous state is the difference, is the distance between molecules. So gaseous state is there, that tells about the distance between the molecules, but in the condensed states the restriction will definitely will come, that this distance will be reduced. Then in a liquid, molecules are so closer that there is a very little empty space compared to gases. And moreover, liquids are much more difficult to compress than gases, because already the distance between the molecules is less. Again you try to compress those liquids like that of gases, it will be difficult. That's why we are saying liquids are much denser than solids, than gases in the normal conditions. Moving on to the molecules in liquids, what kind of forces? The forces may be attractive forces. That is why these liquid molecules are held by strongly compared to the molecules in gases. And we will discuss about these ones forces, because the liquid also has a definite volume, because molecules in liquids do not break away from the attractive forces, and molecules can however move past one another freely, and so in liquids can flow, can be poured, assumes the shape of its container. So liquids have a peculiar behavior is there. The peculiar behavior of the liquids is nothing but they will take the shape of the container. They will assume, we can assume the shape of the container when we keep the liquids in the containers, any place. That is about liquid cases. Coming to the solids cases, in solid molecules, in solids, the molecules are held rigidly in position with virtually no freedom of motion. Many solids are there, they are characterized by long range order. That is, molecules are arranged in a regular configurations in 3 dimensions. Here, solids have long range ordered arrangement. Arrangement is there. What is the meaning of this long range ordered? Molecules are arranged in regular configurations in 3 dimensions. That's why there is a less empty space in a solid than a liquid. So, solids are almost incompressible and they possess definite shape and volume, not like liquids. With very few exceptions, like water being most important one, the density of solid form a higher than that of liquids form for given substance. So, density of solids definitely higher than liquids. We all know it is not uncommon for two states, liquids and solids, substances, they coexist. An ice cube, if you take, is a solid that floating on a glass of water surface is a familiar example. We know that chemist refers to the different states of a substance that are present in a system of phase as phases. The system we will call it as phase. That means a phase is a homogeneous part of the system in contact with other parts of the system but separated from them by a well defined boundary. So, talking about the phases in this study, the phase is also different, is a homogeneous part of the system in contact with other parts of the system but separated from them by a well defined boundaries. Thus, our glass of ice water contains both the solid phase and the liquid phase of water. In this chapter, we will use the term phase, this phase, when talking about changes of state involving from one substance as well as systems containing more than one phase of substance. Okay, we will see such kind of things with a tabular column. Okay, if we have a state of matter gas is there, gases assumes the volume and shape of the container. Here this is a state of matter. I am writing here volume or shape. I am talking about volume or shape here. Assumes the volume and shape of its container. Assumes the volume and shape of the container. Talking about the density, when you talk about the density in gases is very low. Talking about the compressibility, very compressible. Gases are very compressible. Also talking about the motion of the molecules. Motion of the molecules very freely, that means a free motion. Very free motion is there for the molecules in the gas cases. If you observe like this, it will be very easy to understand this tabular column. Now talking about the liquids. Liquids also have a definite volume but assumes the shape of its container. Assumes the shape of the container. Liquids have a density, high density compared to gases, and liquids are only slightly compressible. Slightly compressible, and motion in the liquids slide by past one another freely. Slide past one another, one by one freely. Regarding the liquid, this is first is for gas. Now we talk about solids. What is a solid? In a case of solids, solid has a definite volume and shape. Has a definite volume and shape. But compared to liquids, they have very high densities are there. Here also you can say high densities are there. Compressibility virtually incompressible. Virtually incompressible. Coming to the motion of the molecules in solid, vibrate about fixed positions. Vibrate about fixed positions. Vibrate about fixed positions. So, characteristic properties of gases, liquids and solids, general characteristics we saw in this tabular column. So, they definitely, when we talked about the kinetic molecular theory of liquids and solids, when compared to the gases, liquids and solids are having a different idea is there, and we are telling about the liquids molecules are closer together, that is a very little empty space is there in liquids, and also according to this theory we are talking about solids. Solid molecules are held rigidly in position with virtually no freedom of motion, and all we have discussed in this kinetic molecular theory of liquids and solids. Okay. Now, let us talk about some intermolecular forces. Okay. Now the concept is intermolecular forces, most important, because our main concept in the chapter is intermolecular forces. Exactly what is intermolecular force? Intermolecular forces are attractive forces between the molecules. These are nothing but attractive forces between molecules. Simply we can say intermolecular forces are attractive forces between the molecules. Intermolecular forces, in what way they are responsible? That is also important. Intermolecular forces are responsible for non-ideal behavior of gases. In gaseous cases, they exert even more influence on condensed phases of matter, liquids and solids. If you talk about the charged species, molecules that have a permanent dipole moment, if you see, that will be arranged like this: plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, alignment. Here minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Now here plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus. This indicates permanent dipole moment is tend to align with opposite polarities. In the solid phase, these are maximum attractive interactions. As the temperature of gas, if you say it is dropping, then average kinetic energy of the molecule definitely decreases. Eventually, at a sufficiently low temperature reaches, molecules no longer have enough energy to break away from the attraction of neighboring molecules. So, automatically neighboring molecules will definitely get attracted each other when the temperature drops. At that point, what you can say, molecules starts aggregating to form small drops of liquid, and that transition from the gas to the liquid we will call it as condensation. Gas to liquid is called as condensation. So these all can be understood from temperature changes. In contrast to the molecular forces, we have intramolecular forces also there. Another point, they hold atoms together in a molecule, because we are talking about the molecules and saying intermolecular forces. If anybody asking what is intramolecular force, what is intramolecular force, that means inside a molecule we know atoms will be there, and the atoms, because of that attractions, intramolecular force will definitely come. The force of attraction existed between the atoms inside a molecule are called intramolecular forces. Those are also important in this discussion. And we know these intramolecular forces are said to be involved in the inside a molecule of a chemical bonding discussion. So chemical bonding takes the help of intramolecular forces. So when we are talking about a chemical bond, the force of attraction between the atoms in a molecule can be called as intramolecular force, and that intramolecular forces definitely stabilize the molecules. Whether intermolecular forces are primarily responsible for the bulk properties of the matter or not, that can be discussed. So the bulk properties of the matter will be discussed based on intermolecular forces, and stability of the individual molecule is discussed on the basis of intramolecular forces. Generally what we will talk? Generally we will talk about intermolecular forces. They are actually weaker than intramolecular forces. So force of attraction between the molecules definitely weaker than force of attraction between the atoms inside the molecule. That is the point we are going to discuss. Usually it requires less energy to evaporate a liquid than to break the bonds in molecules of liquid. What is the reason behind that? One is breaking the bonds between the atoms in a molecule takes up lot of energy than the conversion of liquid into the gas. That means evaporation of liquid, it takes lesser amount of energy. So this is a application saying that intermolecular force always lesser than intramolecular force. Do remember, this is another important point, that when we are talking about value based applications, then I can tell one thing, that when you take 1 mole of water, this will take 41 kilojoules of energy for the vaporization. Whereas if you take the another important point value from the experiments, 930 kilojoules of energy is necessary to break the two OH bonds in water. That means this is nothing but bond energy. This is nothing but bond energy. That means boiling points of substances often reflect the strength of the intermolecular forces operating among the molecules. At the boiling point, enough energy must be supplied to overcome the attractive forces among the molecules. Before they can enter in the vapor phase. If it takes more energy to separate the molecules of the substances, suppose if you say A and B, okay, A and B, A molecules are held together by strong intermolecular forces, then boiling point of A is higher than that of B. You can say A and B are the substances. If the A molecules are held together by strong forces, then the boiling point of A is said to be higher than that of B. That means the boiling point of A is greater than the boiling point of B. The reason behind that one is saying that intermolecular forces are stronger in A than B. That is an assumption. In the same principle, we can also apply for the melting points of the substances. If A and B are the liquids, this is the case. If A and B are the solids, the same thing we will call it as a melting point of the substances. Usually, melting points of substances increases with the strength of the intermolecular forces. Okay. To discuss the properties of condensed matter, we must understand the different types of intermolecular forces. Okay. Now we straight away talk about that intermolecular forces. Those intermolecular forces we will call dipole-dipole forces, dipole-dipole forces, dipole-induced dipole forces, dipole-induced dipole forces, dispersion forces. We can also call London forces. These are also forces. And also we can call Van der Waals forces. Okay, commonly referred to that of Van der Waals forces. Okay. Now, not on this one. When you talk about dipole-dipole forces, what is the attractive force? Attractive force will be there between the polar molecules. When you talk about dipole and induced dipole forces, then one is polar, one is non-polar. Talk about dispersion forces, definitely said to be induced dipole between the molecules. Okay, let us come back to the discussion that ions and dipoles are attracted to one another by electrostatic forces called ion dipole forces. So many are there. Ion dipole forces. This also we can include, which are not Van der Waals forces. Another type we are calling hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is a particularly strong type of dipole-dipole interaction because only a few elements can participate in hydrogen bond formation. It is treated as a separate category of intermolecular forces. Not only that one, depending on the phase of the substance, the nature of the chemical bonds and the types of the elements present, more than one type of interaction may contribute to the total attraction between the molecules, that we'll see in details. These are the things. Now we talk about the dipole forces. Now we talk about dipole forces. Dipole forces. These are the attractive forces between the polar molecules. Do you remember? These are nothing but attractive forces between polar molecules. Okay? And that is between molecule that possess dipole moments. Most important thing. Molecules which possess dipole moment, that we will call polar molecules. Origin is nothing but electrostatic, and they can be understood in terms of Coulomb's law. Larger the dipole moment, greater is the force of attraction. This shows even orientation of the molecules in solids. In a case of liquids, polar molecules are not held as rigidly as in solids, but definitely they tend to align in a way that on average and maximizes the attractive interactions in the dipole forces. Another one, ion dipole forces. Ion dipole forces. Suppose you have sodium ion is there, Na plus. Okay, and you have iodide is there, like this. There are two types of ions are there. Dipole interaction observed here. That means Coulomb's law explains ion dipole forces which attract an ion, either a cation or an anion, in a polar molecule to each other. These are nothing but attractive forces between ion, that may be positive or negative, to that of a polar molecule. These are polar molecules. So, the strength of this type of interaction depends on charge and size of the ion, on the magnitude of the dipole moment and size of the molecule. So, this may be changes. The charges on cation are generally more concentrated because cations are usually smaller than anions. Therefore, cation attracts more strongly with dipoles than does with anion, because anion is larger in size. Therefore, a cation attracts more strongly with dipoles than those in anion having a large of charge of a same magnitude. Suppose same magnitude is there, although that attraction will be less. So here attraction is more, here attraction is less. What is the reason? The reason between that one is nothing but weak interaction, strong interaction, that is important. That means charge on the cation more is the attraction. Charge on the cation is lesser is the attraction. So here you take sodium and here molecule dipole. Here what happened? The attraction is a weak attraction, I am telling. That means weaker interaction happened. But when you take magnesium and this is a dipole, the interaction is strong interaction. Stronger interaction. What is the reason? Charge on the cation. When the charge on the cation increases, size of the cation decreases. That is the reason. And moreover, if you take this is water dipole, hydration, this is called hydration, is an example of ion dipole interaction, and heat of hydration as a result of the favorable interaction between cations and anions of an ionic compound with water shows ion dipole interaction between sodium and magnesium ions with a water molecule which has a larger dipole moment difference. So, dipole moment 1.87 debye will be there because here mu value 1.87 debye is there. Reason behind that one is nothing but magnesium ion has higher charge and a smaller ionic radius, smaller value is there, that of sodium. This magnesium radius is 78 picometers, this sodium is 98 picometers is the radius of the ion. So definitely interacts more strongly with the water molecules. What is the reality? Each ion is surrounded by number of water molecules. We are showing only one water molecule. Each ion is surrounded by number of water molecules in solution. Automatically heat of hydration of these ions definitely depends on the size. So here delta H of hydration value noticed for this one are different, and this is given value minus 405 kilojoules per mole, and this value given as minus 1926 kilojoules per mole. Now you understand the difference between this type of ions and their interaction. So ion dipole forces depends on the size of the dipole and also the ion charge. So similar difference exists for anions of different charges and sizes. We have shown for cations. This is ion dipole discussion. Moving on to the dispersion forces. Dispersion forces. See what in attractive force occurs in a non-polar substances. What attractive force or interaction occurs between non-polar substances, that when you start learning about that one, answer to this question can be obtained considering the arrangements. When you consider some of the arrangements, now I will show you some arrangements in this case. Suppose a cation, an induced dipole, a spherical charge distribution I will show you. Here a cation is there, and here I am showing a spherical charge distribution in a atom like helium. Okay, here what will happen? Induced dipole I am showing. Okay, similarly if you write dipole here, This is minus and plus. Here induced dipole you can observe. Observe there are two things here differently. That means if we place an ion or a polar molecule near to an atom, a non-polar molecule, this is non-polar, electron distribution inside this atom or molecule distorted by this ion. So what will happen? Because of this ion, the electronic distortion takes place inside the molecule. Automatically what will happen? This distortion will change the distribution of the electrons density inside the atom, and that will definitely change into a polar molecule. As a result, what will happen? The resulting is a kind of polar. The kind of polar we called as induced dipole. Actually it is non-polar. Now it is became polar because of this ion. Okay. Another thing. So the dipole in an atom is said to be an induced dipole because the separation of positive and negative charges in an atom is due to the proximity of an ion or a polar molecule. That is happened. That's why observe the induced dipole. This is now dipole. This is induced dipole. So the attractive interaction between an ion and the induced dipole is called as ion induced dipole interaction, and the attractive force between polar molecule and the induced dipole is called as diposed induced dipole forces. So observe the difference. This is nothing but ion dipole forces. This is nothing but dipole induced dipole interactions. So the dipole moment being induced depends only on the charge on the ion and the strength of the dipole, but also polarizability of an atom or a molecule, because the ease which an electron distribution in an atom can be distorted depends on that this dipole moment can be developed. So large number of electrons and more diffuse electron cloud in an atom or molecule will be definitely gives greater polarizability to that molecule. By the diffusing cloud, we mean that electron cloud is spread over appreciable volume so that electrons are not held tightly by the nucleus. So talking about all these things, polarizability is most important terminology which allows gases containing atoms or non-molecular, non-polar molecules like helium, neon, helium, nitrogen, etc. Helium atom, electrons are moving at some distance from the nucleus. At any instant, likely that atom has a dipole moment created by specific positions of electrons, and the dipole moment is called as instantaneous dipole moment in those cases because it lasts for just a tiny fraction of second. In the next instant, the electrons are in different locations and the atoms has a new instantaneous dipole and so on. So finally, talking about this dispersion forces is nothing but important point in this kind of interaction is the attractive forces that arises as a result of temporary dipoles induced in atoms or molecules. What is the final point under the discussion is dispersion forces. What are dispersion forces? Temporary dipoles induced in atoms or molecules. Forces arise due to temporary dipoles induced in atoms or molecules. Okay, this is the actual definition of dispersion forces. Usually what happens at very low temperatures in this discussion is dispersive forces are strong enough to hold atoms like helium. These dispersive forces at low temperatures are strong and they cause gas to condense, that means convert into liquid form. When the dispersive forces are strong. Strong dispersive forces are there. Okay. And now we are calling dispersion forces also called as London forces. Another new name for this one is nothing but London forces. Do you remember? London forces. Or talk about the dispersion forces is will be carry forward to the next session. We will discuss the remaining intermolecular forces in the next session, and it will be continued even in the next session with examples. Until have a nice day. Thank you.